Section 1, the ghost you carry is not a monster, it's a story. Every morning when you wake up, you carry the ghost of the person you used to be. Whether you realize it or not, you're dragging along chains forged from old habits, old fears, and old failures. That voice in your head, the one that whispers, "This is just who I am," is not your friend. It's your jailer. But let's pause for a moment. What if we looked at that ghost differently? What if it's not a monster you're trying to escape? For many of us, especially after passing the first third of our lives, that ghost is a beautiful dream we can't let go of. Perhaps it's the image of a more successful, healthier, or happier past self. And now, every day, facing reality feels like a failure. The bitterness comes not from the memories themselves, but from the constant comparison between the you of yesterday and the you of today. You see, whether you're running from a painful past or clinging to a glorious one, you're trapped by the same thing, a story. A story you've told yourself thousands of times, to the point where you believe it's the only truth. Many of us live by a defiant motto, "Take me as I am, or not at all." We think it's a sign of strength, of integrity. But let's be honest, isn't it sometimes just a shield to hide a person we don't truly like? An excuse to keep hitting the self-destruct button over and over again? The biggest trap is believing that you are a block of stone, rigid and unchangeable. But Stoic philosophers and modern science tell us something completely different. They say you are not stone. You are clay. Neuroscience calls this neuroplasticity. It means that your brain, your adult brain, is not frozen. It has the ability to change itself, to rewire itself, to create new neural pathways and weaken old ones. Every time you learn a new skill, face a challenge, or even just think a different thought, you are physically restructuring your brain. So, the idea that you can't change isn't just a limiting belief. Scientifically, it's flat out wrong. You have the capacity to change. The question isn't, can you change, but, are you willing to do the work? Today, we're not just talking about change. We're talking about a war strategy. A war to reclaim the narrative of your own life. Together, we will explore a detailed plan, a philosophy tested over thousands of years, to break the cage you've built for yourself and forge the person you truly want to become. The person you were born to be. True rebirth doesn't begin by rejecting the past. It begins by admitting that the shield you're carrying has become too heavy. It begins when you dare to look at your old story and say, "Thank you, but I'll write the next chapter myself." Section 2, From Inner Critic to Inner Strategist. The war for your life isn't fought out there. It's not in the office, the gym, or your bank account. The real war, the most brutal war, is fought on a battlefield just 6 inches wide, between your ears. It's fought in your mind. And on that battlefield, there is an enemy you know all too well. It's a master critic, a professional saboteur. It's the voice of your inner critic. That voice whispers to you in your weakest moments. It tells you that you're a failure for losing what you once had. It feeds your bitterness and self-pity, turning your past into irrefutable proof of your present incompetence. It's the one that puts your finger on the self-destruct button and convinces you it's the only way out. And here's the most insidious part, sometimes, that critic doesn't attack you with bad memories. It attacks you with beautiful ones. Psychologists have a term for this, bittersweet nostalgia. It's when you look back on the past not with warmth, but with a profound sense of loss, an envy for your former self. You're not just remembering those days, you're mourning them. And that pain, that feeling that the best version of you is in the rearview mirror, is more devastating than any external criticism. It makes you feel as if the best chapter of your life is over, and now you're just reading the endnotes. For years, you've fought this critic with the wrong weapons. You've used self-blame. You've used guilt. You've tried to suppress it with sheer willpower. And the result? You just got more tired. Because every time you beat yourself up, you're not weakening the critic. You're giving it ammunition. You're confirming its story that you deserve to be punished. But what if I told you there's another way? A way not to fight the critic, but to disarm it. A way to turn your inner critic from an enemy into an inner strategist. This is where we move from vague hope to a scientifically backed battle plan. Welcome to the art of cognitive reframing. This isn't fluffy positive thinking. This is a technique used by therapists and high performers worldwide to reprogram the brain. It works like this. Think of it as a 3-step process for interrogating every negative thought. Step 1, identify the enemy, separate the thought from the truth. When that voice pops up, for example, "I'll never change, I've always been this way," stop. Don't accept it as fact. Instead, write it down or say it out loud. I am having the thought that I will never change. Simply putting distance between you and the thought diminishes its power. You are not the thought. You are the observer of the thought. Step 2, challenge the evidence, become a defense attorney. Now, challenge that thought like a lawyer cross-examining an unreliable witness. Ask yourself sharp questions. What is the 100% undeniable proof that this thought is the absolute truth? Has there ever been a time in my life when I changed a small habit? Even once? If my best friend said this about themselves, what would I tell them? Is this thought helping me or hurting me? Is it moving me closer to the person I want to be? And here's the most important question, especially when facing bittersweet nostalgia: what is another, more realistic, or more helpful way of looking at this situation? Step 3, rewrite the script, issue a new command. This is where you transform from a prisoner into a legislator. You create a new thought, a new narrative to replace the old one. This new story doesn't have to be rosy affirmations. It just needs to be more balanced and constructive. Let's look at some real-world examples, based on what you've shared. Old script: I'm a failure because I lost everything I had in the past. Interrogation: does that past really prove I'm a failure? Or does it prove I'm capable of achieving great things? What do I have today that my past self didn't? Maybe wisdom. Maybe hard-earned lessons. New script: my past is proof of what I'm capable of. Now, I have experience and wisdom I didn't have before. It's time to use those assets to build the next chapter, a different one, but no less great. Old script: I'll never be able to change this weakness. Other people have said it, and it must be true. Interrogation: are other people's opinions the truth about my potential? Or are they just their perception at a single point in time? How does believing them benefit me? New script: their opinion was about my old self. The person I'm building today is not bound by those words. Every disciplined action I take is a statement that they were wrong. And proving them wrong will be my fuel. This is ruthless responsibility, practiced correctly. It's not about self-flagellation. Research by Dr. Kristen Neff on self-compassion has shown conclusively that self-criticism is not an effective motivator. It leads to shame, fear, and paralysis. True responsibility, the responsibility of a strategist, asks a different question. Not, how can I punish myself for the past, but, what is good for me right now? What can I do, no matter how small, to move forward? Responsibility is acknowledging that only you have the power to rewrite the script in your head. No one else can do it for you. Every time you catch a negative thought and actively reframe it, you are performing an act of a general, not a victim. You are strengthening new neural pathways. You are training your brain to obey new orders. This process isn't easy. At first, it will feel artificial. The inner critic will fight back fiercely. But remember, that discomfort is the sound of change. It's the groaning of old chains as they begin to break. Stop being a passive soldier on the battlefield of your mind, assaulted by random thoughts. It's time for you to become the general, the commander, the inner strategist. The one who decides which thoughts are allowed to exist and which must be eliminated. Because when you change the story inside, you will change the world outside. Section 3, Forging Strength in Fire. A reframed mind is an ultimate weapon, but a weapon never used becomes useless. A brilliant strategist can't win a battle just by drawing maps in their tent. They must send their troops to the field. And your next battlefield is the real world, your daily habits. You cannot build a new person in an old environment. Because your old self has turned your surroundings into a fortress. A fortress called the comfort zone. Don't let the name fool you. The comfort zone is not a place of peace. It's a tomb of unrealized potential. It's a padded room where your dreams go to die a slow, quiet death. Your old self loves this place. It thrives on ease, it fattens itself on procrastination, and it grows complacent on the seductive promise of tomorrow. Every time you choose the path of least resistance, you are not just standing still. You are regressing. You are performing CPR on the very version of yourself you claim to hate. And the person you want to become? They aren't lounging in the comfort zone. They are waiting for you outside, in the smoke of effort, in the salt of sweat, and in the burn of new challenges that make your muscles ache and your mind rebel. So how do you get out? You don't have to jump off a cliff. You just need a torch. And you must be willing to burn your own comfort zone to the ground. This isn't self-torture. This is strategy. Stoic philosophers and modern psychologists call it voluntary discomfort. It is the deliberate act of putting yourself in controlled, difficult situations, not to punish yourself, but to train yourself. It's like injecting a small dose of a stress vaccine so your body and mind can build immunity to the larger doses life throws at you. Every act of voluntary discomfort you perform does two crucial things. First, it expands your tolerance for hardship. When you voluntarily take a cold shower, your nervous system learns, oh, this is uncomfortable, but it's not killing me. The next time you face an unexpected stressor at work, your mind won't panic. It will say, I handled worse than this at 7 a.m. Second, and most importantly, it builds evidence. Every time you finish a workout you didn't want to start, every time you make that difficult call you've been procrastinating on, you are collecting a piece of tangible evidence and sending it straight to your inner strategist. You are building a file, a portfolio of small wins, so the next time the inner critic whispers, you're weak, your strategist can slam that file on the table and say, the data does not support your claim. Now, let's talk about the fuel for this fire. Sometimes, the best fuel isn't lofty goals or positive affirmations. Sometimes, the most potent, most ferocious fuel comes from the past itself. It comes from the memory of someone, maybe a boss, an old friend, or even a partner, who looked you in the eye and said, you'll never change. Do you remember that feeling? That feeling of being boxed in, underestimated, written off. Most people let that feeling curdle into bitterness. But a strategist does not. A strategist turns it into fuel. Don't waste that powerful emotion on resentment. Recycle it. Turn it into pure energy. Do this. The next time your alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and every fiber of your being screams to hit the snooze button, close your eyes. Picture that person's face. Hear their words again. Let that memory be the hand that yanks the covers off you. When you're on your last rep, when your arms are shaking and your lungs are on fire, let their doubt be the force that pushes you one more time. When you sit down to do the hard work instead of scrolling on social media, whisper, watch this. This is no longer about them. This is about you using every scrap of your past, good and bad, as kindling for the fire that forges your future. And this brings us to a ruthless truth: discipline is more important than inspiration. Your old self lives on inspiration. It waits for the perfect mood, for a magical wave of energy to get started. But inspiration is a fickle guest, it comes and goes without warning. You cannot build an empire on such a guest. Discipline, on the other hand, is a system. Discipline is showing up regardless of how you feel. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Your new self isn't built on the days you feel great. It's forged on the days you feel tired, bored, and want to quit, but you do it anyway. You still take the walk. You still write that page. You still say no to the dessert. Every time you choose action over apathy, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. It is an internal democracy, and every small act counts. You are starving the old self and feeding the new one decision at a time. So what do these actions look like in practice? Let's get specific. Physically, get up and walk for 10 minutes right after hearing this. Take a 30-second cold shower at the end of your hot one. Hold a stretch for 10 seconds longer than you want to. Mentally, tackle the hardest task on your to-do list first thing in the morning. Read a chapter of a book on a challenging topic instead of watching TV. Initiate the uncomfortable conversation you've been avoiding all week. Sit in silence for 5 minutes without any phone distractions. Emotionally, listen to an opinion you disagree with without interrupting. Admit when you're wrong. Compliment someone you feel jealous of. All of these are small fires. Individually, they may seem insignificant. But together, they create a blaze. A purifying blaze. It doesn't burn you up. It burns away the things that are not you, the weakness, the excuses, the addiction to comfort, the mediocrity that has held you back. And what's left after that fire? You are. A harder, more resilient, and purer version of you. A version that was forged, not born. A version that knows strength isn't found in ease, but is carved in the face of difficulty. Section 4, the final liberation. You've done the hard work. You've confronted the old stories, challenged the inner critic, and forged your will in discomfort. But even with a sharp mind and a resilient body, you can still be a prisoner if you haven't broken out of the final 2 cages. The first cage is one of the most sophisticated ever created. It's built from the opinions of others. Your old self was obsessed with what other people thought. It measured its self-worth in applause or criticism. It craved approval like a thirsty man in the desert, but that thirst was never quenched. Every compliment was a temporary fix, and every critique was a fatal blow. You became a puppet, pulled by the ever-changing perceptions of people who didn't even understand your journey. The Stoics teach that your reputation, like the opinions of others, lies outside of your control. And anything outside of your control is, by definition, irrelevant to your core worth. Placing your happiness and self-esteem in the hands of others is like giving a stranger the keys to your house and hoping they don't mess up the furniture. It is a voluntary surrender of freedom. Liberation from this cage doesn't mean you become arrogant or ignore all feedback. On the contrary, it requires a profound humility, a concept Epictetus called emptying your cup. Your old self thought its cup was full. It was filled with assumptions, rigid opinions, and the illusion of knowledge. It was afraid to admit, I was wrong, or, I don't know, because it equated that with weakness. But as Epictetus warned, a man cannot learn what he thinks he already knows. The moment you believe you have all the answers is the moment you stop growing. Emptying your cup means approaching life with the curiosity of a student, not the complacency of a master. It means you seek truth, not validation. When you do this, something magical happens. The opinions of others change their role. They are no longer verdicts that determine your worth. Instead, they become data points. Some are useful, some are not. You can examine them objectively, take what is valuable and discard what isn't, without your ego getting bruised. You begin to measure your success by an internal metric, not by likes or praise. What is that metric? It's whether or not you lived in accordance with your principles that day. It's whether you acted as the person you want to become, even when no one was watching. When you truly live this way, you will find a peace that no compliment can give you, and no criticism can take away. And this brings us to the final cage. The biggest, most terrifying cage. The one built from the illusion that you have unlimited time. This is the most powerful practice of Stoicism, memento mori. Remember, you will die. This is not a morbid or pessimistic thought. It is a sharpening blade that cuts away everything trivial, every excuse, every wasted moment. It is the antidote to the terminal disease of procrastination. Your old self lives in the comfort of tomorrow. It whispers to you that you can start the diet on Monday, you can write that book next year, you can become the person you want to be, someday. It lulls you to sleep with the illusion that time is infinite. But the Stoics knew better. Life is short. The clock is ticking. Every second you hesitate is a second lost forever, vanished into a merciless void. If you don't kill your old self today, it might very well bury you tomorrow. Not metaphorically, but literally. There is no guarantee you will wake up tomorrow morning with another chance to change. Every day you hesitate is a gamble with the only thing you can never get back. Living as if you are about to die is not about fear. It is about focus. It is about a clarity that can only come from the awareness of your own finitude. When you truly internalize this truth, you will stop tolerating mediocrity in your life and in yourself. You will stop wasting your evenings on meaningless arguments on social media. You will stop procrastinating on telling the people who matter that you love them. You will stop letting fear prevent you from pursuing what actually means something. Every moment becomes precious, because every moment is on loan. Every sunrise is a gift. Every conversation is an opportunity. Every action is a dedication to the fleeting nature of existence. When you see the world through this lens, even the mundane becomes extraordinary. You realize that no experience will ever be repeated exactly, that no day is guaranteed, and that you are living on borrowed time with every breath you take. This urgency is not a burden. It is the final liberation. It frees you from the weight of petty concerns. It forces you to focus on what truly matters. How did you live? How did you love? What mark did you leave? It is the fire that burns away the last remnants of your old self and forces you to live, not as a spectator watching your life go by, but as an active participant, a warrior fighting for every precious moment. Because the script is being written right now, and you are the one holding the pen. And there is no guarantee you'll get a chance to write the next page tomorrow. True liberation is realizing you don't need anyone else's approval to feel whole, and you don't have the time to wait for a perfect moment that will never come. You only have right now. And right now is more than enough. Section 5, Your 7-Day Protocol and the Path Forward. Philosophy without action is just talk. A battle plan without a first step is just a piece of paper. Everything we have discussed, from reframing your mind to stepping into the fire, is meaningless if it doesn't change how you live tomorrow. So, this isn't advice. This is a challenge. A 7-day protocol designed to kickstart the process of killing your old self and forging the new one. Take it seriously. Your 7-day protocol starts now. Day 1, identify the ghost. Tonight, set aside 15 quiet minutes. Take a pen and paper. Write down the answer to this question: what is the story of my old self? Is it a story of a monster you're running from, full of mistakes and regrets? Or is it the story of a lost golden age, a glorious version of yourself you can't stop comparing to the present? Be brutally honest. Don't judge. Just identify it. Write until you have nothing left to write. This is the act of recognizing your enemy. Day 2, interrogate a thought. Look at your to-do list or think about your day. Pick one negative, automatic thought that came up. Maybe it was, I'm too tired to work out, or, I'm going to bomb this presentation. Now, apply the cognitive reframing technique. Write down the bold script. Then, interrogate it. Is it 100% true? What's another way of looking at it? Finally, write a more constructive, new script. For example, even though I'm tired, moving for 10 minutes will make me feel better than doing nothing. You are exercising the muscle of your inner strategist. Day 3, step into the fire. Today, do one thing that is purposefully uncomfortable. Just one. Take a 30-second cold shower. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Start the difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Wake up 15 minutes earlier and sit in silence instead of grabbing your phone. This isn't about the outcome of the act. It's about sending a message to your brain: I am in control, not my urge for comfort. Day 4, practice compassion. This is a critical day for balance. At the end of the day, write down 2 things, one thing you did well, and one thing you struggled with or failed at. For the thing you did well, allow yourself to feel proud. For the thing you struggled with, fight the urge for self-criticism. Instead, ask kindly, as you would a friend, what's the lesson here? What can I do differently next time? Responsibility isn't punishment. It's learning. Day 5, act without applause. Do one good, helpful, or disciplined thing and tell no one about it. Clean the kitchen without needing recognition. Make a small, anonymous donation. Spend an hour learning a new skill just because you want to. The goal is to detach your actions from external validation. Let the act itself be the reward. Your worth is defined by your character, not by applause. Day 6, practice memento mori. Find 5 minutes of true quiet. Close your eyes and genuinely contemplate the fact that your life is finite. Feel that urgency. Then, ask yourself, knowing this, what is one important thing I must do today? Maybe it's calling your parents. Maybe it's apologizing to someone. Maybe it's writing the first page of your business plan. Whatever it is, do it today, without delay. Day 7, review and commit. Look back on your week. What did you learn about yourself? What was the hardest part? What was the most empowering? Now, choose one habit from this protocol that you will commit to doing every day for the next 30 days. Just one. Make it a non-negotiable part of your new self. Killing your old self is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong process, a choice you make again and again, moment by moment. These 7 days are just the beginning. If you are ready to walk this path, to build an unbreakable mind not just for a week, but for a lifetime, then join us. You don't have to do this alone. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, because our next video will be about applying these Stoic principles to overcome financial anxiety, a battle so many of us are fighting. You don't want to miss it. Your journey has just begun. Your new self is awaiting your command. Let's get to work.